Yes, so I will give you a short outlook on the methodology for stakeholder analysis. Means this is package 2. And one of the results, as we just heard from Barbara, will be a broad range of stakeholders with differences on their legal status, the level of functioning, the type of organization. And the question will be, how do they work? And the question is, how is regeneration working? And as we had a lot of examples from Serene, we saw let's have a quick look back, because brownfield management is not a new topic in indirect project. There was ProSite, the CATSIS project from 2002 to 2006. And if you have a look there, we have so-called A brownfields, A projects where everybody is happy, the investor is happy, cities are happy, citizens are happy. And so we have a lot of examples that work well, because keep in mind, brownfield development is an ongoing process. That means there's always new brownfield creation coming in the basin, and there's brownfield regeneration, but we have to be aware of hardcore sites that they will find a good solution. So it's not necessary to have all possible stakeholders involved in the planning process. But as Barbara already said, we have to make a distinction between formal and informal processes. And the crucial question is, at what stage of a planning process can be or should be which kind of stakeholders involved? So we have to talk about time in planning processes. So the methodology for classification of stakeholders is who benefits from a project, who should behave neutral in a planning process, who is affected by a project, and who has disadvantages from a project. So, and last question, who is expected to show resistance? So we are again at the question of time. At what stage of a planning process can be, should be, which kind of stakeholders involved? If we make a distinction between formal and informal processes, actually we do not know if and when stakeholders are involved in formal processes in all the loop regions. This is why Barbara started the survey. If I give you an example from Germany, we already have the possibility twice for civil society to be involved in planning processes. And if we do in informal processes, so this was formal processes and informal, we have some examples from Germany. Again, means the guidance for the involvement of citizens and civil society. You can have, if you want to, it's a German webpage, but maybe it's quite helpful. And there are thousands of methods of involvements. So the question is, what will be the best if it is driven by civil society? So another example is a cooperative planning process. That means the core is you have multiple teams in multiple rounds. You're together with multiple stakeholders, and this is driven by owners or local authority. Heike Badenbach just asked in the chat before, how can we come to private owners that they will engage them? And so these are examples from Stuttgart, where the local authority started cooperative planning processes together with the owner and together with several planners and other stakeholders. So this is driven by those. And the last example is at the state level. as an informal process. We have an internet-based platform in Baden-Württemberg for, yes, if you translate it, having a say in decisions on large-scale projects, and there more democracy and more involvement of civil society. So this is what we can say about Germany, and we are very excited what will be the result of the survey. So when we ask at what stage and which phase involvement is helpful, so when is a good time to submit information, as already there are a lot of pros and cons on early or late involvement. Some activities and resistance first arise when information becomes known via the press or other channels. If you start too late, those affected feel that information has been withheld from them. If you start too early, reliable results are often missing, and you run the risk that the project is seen random and at will. So this will be the topic for the next seminar. What are your experiences with the involvement of stakeholders, especially the civil society? Yeah, back to classification. What are the advantages, or who has advantages and disadvantages of a project? This is an example with the stakeholders having advantage, behaving neutral, or having disadvantages. For example, if you're a citizen of civil society, the advantage of a project could be you have better infrastructure, you have more jobs, more green, but you also can have disadvantages, more noise, dirt, you have more built landscape, more traffic. For owner and investors, it's quite clear they have advantages. Owner have better planning stability. An investor has a quick return of invest. So this is the advantage. And if you go to the politics, well, success means re-election. Neutral behavior should be the core activity. And the disadvantage is trouble means trouble. Even this is what politicians really don't want to have. But those who really have to be neutral are approval authorities when they do the evaluation of the projects. So we are excited what kind of stakeholders will be identified in T1. What is the situation in the Danube regions on formal and informal planning processes? So what are your experiences as project partners of AGORA in involvement in formal and informal planning processes? And also, why did projects succeed? And why did projects fail in the past? That means learning from projects that failed really will help. And yes, how can stakeholders be involved in times of pandemics? This is the question what we will hear something about from European. So I'm at the end right now. If you want to reach us, agora@pakora.net. Thank you very much.